Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lords
John Brownstone.
from Loving BDSM. Back again to
Yes, we
talk
are.
about something we think you need to know about BDSM.
Absolutely.
The Cliff's Notes version.
Yep.
I like that. I'm going to keep that. And this week we're talking about aftercare.
Yep.
So we mentioned it in our subspace video. We'll link down below if you want to check that out. But now let's actually dig into aftercare.
What is aftercare?
Care you get after.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for asking the obvious question.
All right, yeah.
Yes, aftercare is the care of some sort provided typically by the top or dominant to a submissive or bottom after a kinky scene or some sort of intense situation.
Right.
Right. Okay.
You
So we're
ready?
gonna get into it. Okay.
All right. Number one.
It should always be offered.
Right. It's something that not everybody wants.
Right.
But most submissives do like some form of aftercare
Or
after a scene.
Not even like. Sometimes you
Need
need
it.
a form
True.
of aftercare. So
True.
it is always the choice of a submissive to accept aftercare, but it should always be part of the conversation. Whether you're negotiating a one-time scene or you're talking about how you're going to kind of do more kinky things in your relationship, part of that conversation needs to be about aftercare
Right.
and what that means to you and whether you want it or not.
Yeah. Now, I know our club has negotiation sheets in the dungeon. So if you meet somebody and you're negotiating a scene, you have pieces of paper that you can go through the list. And aftercare is actually on that list as well.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So, number 2, there's no right way to do aftercare.
No, aftercare is a very personal thing for each person. It's different for everybody.
Exactly. So, some people want cuddles, they want hugs, they want food, they want very specific things, they want soft touches. Other people, they don't want that. They don't want you to touch them. They might just want to be left alone. In the situation where aftercare of some sort is being provided, it is a top or dom's responsibility to sort of check on that person and make sure they are okay. You might have just done a very, very intense kinky scene that involved pain or emotional manipulation or all kinds of things. And so the body reacts a certain way, the mind reacts a certain way. We talked about that a lot in the subspace video. And so when you're coming back down from that, you may have a reaction, physical or mental or emotional, that you didn't expect. And so at the very least, even if there's not the sort of soft cuddles and all that kind of stuff that we sometimes think of as aftercare, you still need to check in and go, are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Or stay there with them until they come back to themselves. Even if you don't touch them, even if you don't do anything with them, make sure they're safe.
Right.
Make sure that there's nothing else happening that shouldn't be happening. But there is no single right way that aftercare should happen.
Okay. She said before, if you're in heavy masochistic play, you could be doing a rope scene where you just bind somebody. A lot of people will slip into rope space. It could be a intense sexual scene. Anything that would get your body pumping, that you get adrenaline going, you having an endorphin rush.
If you're physically doing something to the body that could, pardon the pun, impact the body.
Sure.
Could you have left marks? Could you have squeezed something? Could you have caused pain? But it's any kind of intense moment. It doesn't have to be at the end of a kinky scene. We have had aftercare after rough sex.
Yeah.
Because it was a very intense moment where, there was some pain involved and emotions got high and so then what I needed afterwards, because this is what I need for aftercare, was a cuddle. Like, cuddle me and stroke my hair and tell me you love me and think I'm pretty. Like, that is what I need.
Yes.
So it is any kind of intense moment between dom and sub, top and bottom, not just the very specific BDSM scenes that you might see in a dungeon. Okay.
Number 4.
You might still need some kind of aftercare days later.
Yes.
Like, you have your scene or your sex or your whatever, you get your aftercare right afterwards, you might be 2 or 3 days later. If you're going through drop, you might need, we don't call it aftercare necessarily, but it's basically aftercare. You need to check up on each other. You need to make sure, how are you feeling? Do you want to talk about it? Or what can I do for you?
Have some kind of plan in place. When you negotiate your scene and you negotiate your aftercare, have a plan in place where a couple days afterwards, the top or the dom reaches out, how are you doing? Is everything okay?
And that's especially true if you have negotiated a play scene and you're not in a relationship. If you
Right.
are in a relationship, pay attention to what's happening with your partner. And if you see them in drop, or they express, I am in drop right now, then provide whatever care they might need, even if it's just space to just be
Right.
with their thoughts, or it's, especially if we're talking about a DS relationship where there's some level of ritual and task and protocol, maybe you ease up on that. Whatever it is they might need to give them comfort or help them through that moment, aftercare can still apply. It doesn't happen every time, but it is still a possibility depending on what happened in your scene.
And if you cannot be in contact with the person that you were doing the scene with, have a friend that you can reach out to. Okay,
Just do
a couple
something
days.
to check on them.
Yes.
That is the key to that. Okay.
Number 5.
Aftercare is not just for submissives.
No.
Dominants need aftercare too. Dominants sometimes do some shit that will fuck with your head. And they need to be stroked and told that they did a good job and thank you for that. And that was good. And yes, I wanted it. I was screaming and calling you a rotten motherfucker, but no, I wanted it. It was good.
I mean, let's face it. You do impact play. You engage in edge play.
Sure.
Okay. That is type of stuff that technically goes against societal norms, and it can mess with a top's head. So yeah, sometimes tops need aftercare just as much as the bottom.
And it's as simple as just as a submissive, once you're back to yourself a little bit, just reaching out and saying, are you okay?
Right.
What I have found is you sometimes want to cuddle just as much as I want to cuddle.
Right. And sometimes in my case, if we do something that's very extreme, sometimes what I like to hear too is, I really liked what you did the other night. It was really great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is another good way to reaffirm that they did not just do something that will send them to jail. That they actually did what you wanted them to do.
Right.
And it's not it's not aftercare in the way we think of aftercare. Many of us think of aftercare as here's your blanket and here's some food and here's some cuddles and some soft strokes, and that's how I like aftercare to be. Thank you very much. But aftercare is just also the literal definition, caring of the person after the thing you did. And a dominant needs that. Maybe they need it in a different way. Maybe they don't even necessarily know that they would want it or need it until they get it. But words of affirmation and of letting them know that they did a good job or that you enjoyed it, if that is the case. Thanking them for giving you what you wanted. And because doms can go into drop too, and we will definitely do a video on drop.
Yes.
You need to check in with them too. Some dominants will act like they have to be big, tough, and strong, and the strong silent type, and they won't tell you. And they might not even admit it to themselves that they are down, and it's because they have dropped from the moment, from that scene. When you are able to, check in on them as well. And I personally found in our DS relationship, which may be different than if you've just negotiated a one-off scene, we help each other through drop. We look at each other and go, oh, we're in drop. So we are kinder to one another. We are more loving to one another. There's a lot more touching. There's a lot more just sitting quietly with each other. And that can be, for us, a form of aftercare.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that pretty much covers it.
I know. There's so much more aftercare, y'all. There's so much more. So we have links down below if you want to dive deeper into the topic. And if you have a thought about what people need to know about aftercare that gets forgotten or doesn't get talked about, comment below. Or if you have questions about aftercare, comment below. We are happy to have a conversation about it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.